few weeks ago, something happened in this experiment, and I didn't realize how important it was at the time. But after looking back, it was the moment that the system became real. Hi, I'm running a 365-day experiment using AI to help with my health, my strength, and my decision making in real time. So I was in the middle of a leg workout. In fact, I was doing hack squats. And so it's a pretty heavy lift. And I remember as I was coming back up, I felt this pull at something, that feeling that doesn't feel right. And as I was able to rack the weight and peel away from it, it's like it hurts. I mean, it hurt to breathe. It just, my diaphragm, that's the best way I know to explain it. And so I was having a great deal of pain from that. Normally I would just say, hey, let's go on. But what I did is up to that point, I had been working with AI for weeks now with just logging my information. So I would put in what my workout was and I would update it throughout the workout in between sets and wait and get some of the feedback from it. And then that way it helped me to kind of align and make decisions on what worked best and getting suggestions. So I decided that I was going to feed that bit of information with my diaphragm with that pain and just kind of get the response. So I told AI what was going on and it proceeded to ask some questions. And I described it in a little bit more detail. It was hurting on my side, kind of wrapped around to my back. It kind of hurt to twist or to do a heavy breath. And it came back and eventually it filtered and narrowed it down, funneled it down into saying it's most likely an intercostal strain. So as I'm reading the diagnosis of what it's telling me, I'm like, that sounds exactly like what it is. So at that point, the AI had made the recommendation, okay, we're not going to do any more of the hack squat, and I insisted I want to keep working out. So we pivoted. And so the recommendation was to go to some other leg exercise that we were planning on doing anyway, but we're going to minimize the amount of bracing required, thus the intercostal strain, and see if that is tolerable, if you can do that. So the long and short of it, I was able to finish that workout with not losing any additional time. Once that got narrowed down and I looked at it, I thought that seems right. And to me, at first, I thought the interesting part was the diagnosis that it got that. I thought, well, that's kind of what AI should do. It should be able, with all the resources, be able to determine what that was. But that wasn't the big changing point. I guess what stood out is that the system that we had created could adjust in real time and my progress wasn't halted. And that's really where it stood out to me. So for the first time in my life, in the gym especially, I wasn't making decisions on my own. Now, before that moment, I was still getting recommendations from AI. You have to understand, I've been logging for quite some time my workouts into AI. And so I would put exercises in, say it's going to be leg day, for example, and maybe upload my previous workout there and get feedback on how I should proceed with today's workout. So I may get something that says do 225 6 times. Well, maybe the workout's going in and I'm feeling really good that day. There were many times where I would override the recommendation, say 6. I got 7 or I got 8. And so typical guy fashion, I would go to prove it wrong. And sure enough, I'd post it in there and say, hey, I'm stronger than you think I am. So kind of have some healthy fun in terms of just texting back and forth and putting stuff in the system with AI to get a response. But once that intercostal strain happened, something just clicked with me because I realized that by giving good quality information in, I was able to get help and assistance in decision making that allowed me to continue to work out. Not only did I work out the rest of that week and not miss anything, I worked out that day and finished. In the past, I don't think that I would have necessarily done that and probably further injured myself or taken me out of the system for quite some time. So I started listening differently. I gave much better and more thorough input. If you look at my logs and what I was doing initially, and you can see that it doesn't have as much detail. It's essentially logging what I was doing in the workout. It would tell the exercise, for example, maybe the weight, the number of reps, and maybe a little bit of some other feedback in there. But as it evolved, look at what it has done now. I still have that same bit of information, but I'm adding a lot more detail because I've learned that the better that input is, the better the output in terms of the feedback in the direction and the ability to make decisions helped me. What I learned more than anything is you can't lie to the system if you really want to drive results, because better input creates much better feedback. And so what happened really surprised me. Once I started logging everything more detail and following the script, if it said 225 times 6, I did 225 times 6 and I stopped. But then I asked the question, or I would say, hey, I could have done a few more, or why did we not do 8, or why did we not do 7? And so there was always an explanation of why that was the case. So in this process of giving feedback, I'm also learning, and this is live. This is during the workout. I'm doing this in between, resting in between sets. I'm punching it in and getting feedback, and it kind of fills up my rest time anyway that I'm doing. So in the process of that, I'm getting real-time feedback and I'm tweaking and adjusting my decisions. So the results that I was getting, I've had some of the best gains ever in terms of strength curve, in terms of fat loss, in terms of just overall effectiveness in the gym. And just like the logs show, that level of detail created a better level of input. And the results I got were not just because I pushed harder, but because I was making decisions faster and sooner. That's when this stopped being about workouts and started to become about a system. And this just made me realize something. This isn't about training. And if that's true, then this experiment isn't about just the gym anymore, is it?